right, so just get into it. You're Australia's very own Nick Ward. Your recent album, The House with the Blue Door, has been your newest release. It's got a lot of deep personal topics and everything about your family, your childhood, everything that runs through it. Now, just for my first question, what exactly does the title represent for why you titled it The House with the Blue Door?
House with the Blue Door was the name that my twin brother and I gave our house when we were growing up. So anytime we would leave the house to go outside, we'd wave and say, "Goodbye, House with the Blue Door." So I feel like once I knew that this record was going to be about childhood and kind of digging into like family and the past and stuff like that, it kind of just seemed like the perfect title. And I think it's kind of sweet that technically my sort of like 5-year-old, 6-year-old self named it. Yeah.
And then how was it for you to explore and write such deep and personal songs? Was it cathartic, therapeutic, relieving, complicated? How exactly was it for you emotionally as not just an artist, but as a human being to start making music as this and putting it into those for people to listen to and take in?
I think like I've always wanted to I've always tried to be vulnerable with my music. And I think like I almost feel like I haven't done my job if I don't feel kind of like sick listening to it especially when I'm showing someone else. But I think with this new record, I wanted those emotions and that kind of like confessional side of the music to take place over like, pop songs and something that feels right and warm and inviting. Because I think in the past I've like written like, lots of ballads and folk songs and stuff like that, where I guess the slow tempo and kind of like lower energy puts more emphasis on the lyrics. And I think I don't know. I think I was more interested by contrast with this new record and, working out how much we could kind of Trojan horse into these like tight songs.
And then you previously mentioned that this album is more of a farewell to your childhood and saying goodbye. You just turned the recent young age of 22. What inspired you to create a project?
23 now.
Oh, 23 now. Sorry. What exactly inspired you to create a project centered on these themes, and how did your personal journey just start to now go into these darker tones and more emotional elements that you decided to go about?
I think everyone when they leave high school, even just speaking from my experience, like when I left high school, you kind of leave that bubble of people that you're always seeing, and like you kind of start to become your own person. I think when you leave high school and you like figure out like what parts of your childhood you want to take with you and things you like. Yeah, you really decide who you want to be. And think like a part of this record, like there was like a lot of kind of looking inward and reflection and looking back towards like childhood and just like figuring out like what parts from my childhood still affect me today, which parts do I see myself in my parents. And yeah, I feel like it was definitely like a personal journey that I was going on anyway. And yeah, my music's never not going to be about what I'm kind of going through at the time. So it's definitely super therapeutic, kind of like working through those feelings and emotions within the safety of music and creativity.
Do you feel that you've closed or opened a new chapter of where you want to go as an artist? Do you feel that this is a new pivot point or even just checkpoint for where you want to take your next direction musically in your career?
Yeah, like I think with this album, and the reason why it kind of became like, because I made it while I was making it, I thought it was going to be my third EP. But I think halfway through, I realized like, if this isn't my debut album, I don't really know what is, because I'm putting so much of myself into it. And I feel like I've finally been able to be like confident enough to make the sounds I want to make and be more kind of like bold and colorful. Yeah, just confident in the music. So I think like, I don't know if it's necessary. Like, I think like I want to do something different every single time. And I think that itch always needs to be scratched. So yeah, it's hard to say whether it's an entry point for what comes next, but yeah, stay tuned.
Just to get into it though, speaking of how you felt, you were pouring so much into yourself into this album. Was there a specific song at least that made you feel that this can't be an EP? This has to be my album. Like you have like, I Want to Be a Mother that has very, very sentimental and just emotional mentions of what you're relating to in the song, or Father, Son, Holy Mountain, or even just House with the Blue Door itself, the song. Did you feel that there was any specific song where you felt that I have to put this for my debut because this is so personal? This is the one that everyone needs to hear, and I can't just let it be off a 6-track, 7-track EP instead.
That's a good question. I think it was probably I Want to Be a Mother. It was either I Want to Be a Mother or All Your Life. I think there was like a period there was a period where most of the songs got written, um, which was after I did like a trip to Perth by myself, and was spending some time with family and looking through old like family photographs and stuff. And yeah, within that kind of like month or two, I was just on like a run of just writing most of the record. And yeah, I think it was I Want to Be a Mother or All Your Life that like really cemented that this needed to be a full length album.
And so speaking on looking through with family and just friends, a lot of this album you collaborated with a lot of people that you're close with, including Gab Strum, Fabian Odame. I mispronounced the name, apologies. But how did their contributions help shape this album for you? And what was it like working with such a talented team of people that you got to work with for your first debut?
It was great. Like I think what's nice is that so many of the people who worked on the record are like just friends who people I've known for years. And I don't know, because like when you normally meet someone to do like a writing session, there's kind of like that ice-breaking couple of hours where you're just like working out what each other's tastes and stuff like that. And
yeah,
nice, to be honest, like for this record to actually know all of the people who I was working with and like be friends with them and have that kind of have those walls come down immediately rather than like, I think I was
kind of thing. Like just or what do you bring to the table, or what can I bring to the table, and such versus
fully. I think you'd be more vulnerable. Yeah, fully. I think you can be more vulnerable once you like actually have broken the ice.
Now, with that being said, do you feel that this method and process of how you want to create music is what you want to continue on for your next projects that are upcoming? Or do you feel that you're not as apprehensive towards trying new methods and meeting with new people to try and create new music in any other way if it was open and given to you that way?
Yeah, like I think with this record, like a big part of the process was starting a lot of songs with people and kind of having that initial catalyst be with another person and then taking it home and kind of finishing the album myself and finishing those songs myself. But I think with this next stuff I'm working on, I think I'm more open to working with people a little more closely, maybe just because everyone you work with is going to teach you something. And I think it's important to kind of listen,
No, for sure. And then speaking of working with people, you will also be, congratulations on this, be one of the opening acts on Troye Sivan's tour for his Australian leg. How exactly are you feeling considering the fact that you get to go perform in your native land again overall, just perform this new album for people and just give people like a taste, if not even just pretty much who you are as a person and everything that you've given to music now with these new songs?
It's going to be crazy. Like, I haven't played shows like even a 20th as big as these Troye ones coming up. So it's going to be like it's going to be a big jump kind of from like a fear factor standpoint, but it's going to be great. Yeah, I feel like Troy's built like such a great community around his music, and he's just built a listenership that I don't know, I feel like they all seem so like empathetic and everything, and like his music's so vulnerable that I don't know, I don't feel like I'm going into a space where I won't be welcome, I guess. Yeah, so I'm feeling really excited about it.
I mean, you are going pretty much just right. You're staying right, not even going. You're just staying home, so it does make the most sense in that case. Yeah, like you're basically playing your backyard in a big venue, though. Of course,
good way to look at it. Yeah, I'll keep telling myself that.
And then having this album being released, and now you've got the tour on the way and everything and such with that. How exactly are you planning for what you want to do next? Because after this, it's now, okay, let's take some time to tour, promote this, market this, push this to everyone's ears that they can find. But for you right now, in terms of what you want to present next musically, do you have a plan, or are you just going to wait till it's time to go about into the whatever comes out of you in the studio? Do you have anything that you're like fixated on, or everything that you got preconceived of anything of any sort?
Yeah, like I'm working on a new album, and then I've also got a couple of songs I've made with other people that I'm really excited about, which will hopefully be out next year. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about next year. I think that I think I was worried that I would feel unprepared to go into like writing a new record immediately or anything, but I don't know. It's been a really nice kind of break from rolling out this first record and making the videos and stuff like that. I can kind of relax by making the next one. So it's been a good process.
Do you feel that remaining this vulnerable and personal will be something we can see from you for your next upcoming projects though as well? Or do you feel that maybe let's take it a little bit back. Let's get a little bit more lighthearted. Let's make some happy-go-lucky, pop-catchy songs. Maybe not that exactly, but just do you think that you want to maybe give your personal stories a break? Or do you feel that whatever comes from you, whatever happens, whether it's as long as it's natural, let's keep going with it and carry on with that?
I feel like, you know, the personal stuff, that's the only story I really have to tell. And that's the only thing I kind of really can offer when it comes to songwriting. I don't think that will stop. I definitely like am interested in experimenting with like different styles of writing and different perspectives and stuff, because a lot of my music kind of takes place from my own point of view, usually kind of like in conversation with someone or in conversation with myself. So I'm really interested to kind of like, yeah, write from a character's perspective or try and figure out ways to still talk about similar themes or stuff that's still as personal, but with a bit more creative license, I guess.
I don't know. It sounds like amazing and probably the best way you can ever go about it, and just have everything be exactly what you want it to be and not have any fear or restraints in showing that or sharing that with your listeners, of course. And then just to get into it, with how your songwriting is so deeply introspective and how much you give from what it is that you are as an artist and exactly who you want to separate that or even combine with that as a human being, do you ever find it hard, maybe from this record or any other specific records, to let that happen and let that out? Or does it come natural and come with ease when it comes down to just creating whatever song you want to make and it just flows naturally? Or is it ever some time where you have to rethink and go over, like, is this what's going to sell? Is this what's going to just do well? How are my fans going to receive this? How are my audience is going to receive this? And if you could just take me through exactly what's your thought process when creating a personal deep song?
Yeah, like I think I just don't try to think about what other people think until I get there, you know, until like things actually coming out. Because I think you're like never gonna, like, you should really just make music for yourself and the people around you. I think even though, you know, you like everyone owes so much to their fans and you do want them to be happy with the stuff you're making, like I think what's best for the work is that you just do what you want and you go where your instincts tell you. And yeah, I think for this record and like all the music so far, like I've just been able to make it the way I want to make it. And I think when it comes to the personal side of it, yeah, I don't know. I think it's music. It's quality. Like everyone says it, but music is like therapy for me, and I am able to work through so much stuff and so many issues from talking about it in my music that, yeah, like in my personal life, I actually need that in my works. Yeah, I don't see it. Long story short, I don't see it.
No. And honestly, like how you said best, do whatever you want. Nonetheless, everyone's going to receive it well. What you've been doing has been working, so I can't really tell you any otherwise. Like I can tell this is what you should do, because what you're doing is creating just an overall community for other listeners and audiences to come together and bond and share emotions with your music. And it allows you to do it as well, which is just a win-win nonetheless. So kudos to you and power to you, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Of course.